Hi, welcome back to the Spirit's Path. This is Dee, and today's tarot card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck is the court card of the Page of Arrows and the Wren. Now, the Wren, I really like this card, in this position because, you've just had this revelation of this spark of life, coupled with the foundation of life and the breath of life. And you're seeing everything, unfold before you. And this Wren comes out of the brush, right? And she speaks to you and says, it's awfully nice to meet you, traveler. I see that the horse is carrying you, and I've got a message for you. And you're going, okay, well, I wonder what that message is. And, she just looks at you and says, the message that's to carry on is just to prepare yourself and be understanding and understand what it takes to overcome. And you're like, what do I got to overcome? I don't understand it. So, this page is very symbolic of being that guardian of the winter mysteries, right? And we see this Wren as well in the Hooded Man, okay? So as you're looking within, the Wren is talking to the Hooded Man, and you're getting these messages of, thought process on how to move forward and stuff. Now, the arrows is all about air and logic, and we've got a lot of air and logic down here. We've got the Nine of Arrows and the Ace of Arrows, and now we have, the Page of Arrows. And the Wren is one of the smartest birds, okay, that's out there. She flew on the top of the hawk when soaring ever higher and ever higher in the mythology. So, if you're thinking about this court card, okay, it's about this, the study and the application that you're going through, bringing that understanding and wisdom with, some youthful avenues, right? Some determination, taking it upon yourself with, clear thought, having that, that foundation that you want to build on. And also, that spark of life, that's there. Okay, so, what's a night, something to go along with that, right? It's to take that youthful determination of learning something new, right? In your department or in a relationship that strengthens, all right, continues to add to the foundation of the relationship, has that little bit of spark, to keep the interest going, and then, thinking about it ahead of time, right? Just out of the blue, going out and buying flowers for somebody. There's that spark, there's that youthful determination, and maybe, that you've been together for, 30 years. Just having that little something that just, I'm just going to surprise her today, right? Or I'm going to surprise him today, right? And that's what carries you forward, okay? There's no stubbornness in that card. There's no, pushing on to the finish. It's just, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have that youthful determination to make sure, that it comes through. Now, that's pretty much how this card comes across. Now, if this is a person, it's a good companion to see you through on a project, okay? Through those trials and tribulations, right? Through those challenges. This is somebody, this Wren doesn't give up. Okay, if this is you or somebody else, they don't give up. They don't give in to the situation. They're also, a keen observer, and they learn easily. They pick up concepts very easily. They pick up processes very easy. All right, and they're very detail oriented, and they're dexterous and cunning, as they're moving in. Now, you think of, the birds that are not only in the court deck, but in the northern hemisphere, the Wrens are here all year long, all through the summer, winter, fall, spring. They're there. They don't fly south. Other birds will go south. This Wren is very determined to stick around in its own neighborhood, let's say, right? If this is an aspect, they're going to have that daring characteristic, right? That, hey, that's spontaneous. Let's go to the hockey game, or let's go to the baseball game, right? They're going to be very daring and agile, okay? Being able to, flirt around issues and stuff like that, okay? They're going to be determined. They're going to think things through, okay? Making sure that things are done safely, making sure that, things are, done in the order they need to be done, making sure that, hey, there's a flow to, the work environment or in that relationship. And if this is an event, it's all about that learning that new skill, whether it's online or whether it's at, at the Uptown Bistro or whatever like that. And it's just, looking at the contracts and, if you want to do theater, it's doing the auditions, right? And you could say that, even if you're out about with friends and stuff like that, doing auditions for that new relationship, doing that audition or that interview process for a new position in the company or, a new position, period. So, those are some of the aspects that this Wren brings that you can, see in yourself, or you can see in somebody else as you're going through work, learning more about this card. It's just that message of youthfulness, okay? That message of, hey, we are going to get through this no matter, what the weather is. All right, we are going to, get through this, and we're going to learn. We're going to learn how to do things better, right? So the question that the Wren asks is, what do you need to overcome? Whereas the stone is asking you, how can you push through? Okay, pushing through to that end, trying to finish that marathon that you're in. She's asking you, what do you need to overcome? What do you need to overcome in that relationship in order to have, to lose some of that stagnation? What do you need to have, overcome in that project? All right, that's just kind of bogging you down. You got to have that youthful determination. You got to think outside the box, right? And then the other question that the Wren asks is, what is the mystery and how to face that challenge? If that's in the relationship, it's okay. How can I surprise this person? If this is in a work situation, it's like, how can I take on that youthful determination to learn something about this department, to understand, how do I go about doing something, that draws me into helping others learn something easily, right? How is it that person's able to learn something quickly, and you're looking at it going, I just don't understand that. All right, so you have to look at all those aspects and figure out what that mystery is. Because once you figure out what the mystery is, then that knowledge and that wisdom, starts falling upon you. And this Wren is just, hey, let's go. We got to figure it out. We got to do this. We got to do that. And you just have that thought process of getting those messages in from the universe, getting those messages in from, your spirit guides and your ancestors. And this all helps you on that walk. Okay, by having the court cards coming in and giving you and providing direction, providing enthusiasm, okay, you can look at that and say, you know what? I've got that clear vision. I've got that stability, that foundation. And I've got that passion to move forward, that creativity. All right? And I know I'm protected. I know the horse is carrying me, and I know the Wren is making sure that I stay youthful. I have fun during that process. I have fun in my relationship. I have fun going to work. I have fun with my coworkers. So that's today's card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck, the Page of Arrows and the Wren. Hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. Share it with others. Give me a thumbs up. And this is D for a Spirit's Path. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care. God bless. And stay safe, everybody.